I'm not quite sure what the fluid is, but it's leaking something. I think it's water. Did it just cut out? Nice.
Good job. Today we are thinking about 10 things that we wish we'd known before we started buying classic cars.
We didn't actually introduce it there.
I don't care. This is the way it's going.
This is how it's starting. Fair enough. Yeah, so today we've had a think, and it's something we wanted to talk about for a while. Well, I wanted to talk about for a while, and I thought that would be something that's just useful for people to know. Because we've made a lot of mistakes, I think it's fair to say.
All I've done is make mistakes with cars, to be honest.
Oof. Not all. Some have been good.
That one doesn't run.
Yeah, but you didn't buy it like that. You got a good long time of driving out of this before it didn't run.
3 months? 4 months?
It wasn't only that long, was it?
No,
No, it was definitely...
it was like 5 months.
It's longer than that.
It's like April, like November to April.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
That's all I've had out of that.
Maybe it wasn't that long.
Bad mistakes.
But yeah, we've made mistakes in the past, and we want to try and help you guys learn from our mistakes, as cliche as it sounds. Now, we're not experts by any stretch of the imagination, but we do have quite a lot of experience of buying and, more importantly, daily driving classic cars. Because there's a lot of people on YouTube who do classic car channels, and then they turn off the camera and they hop into their 2015 Mondeo or something like that and go to work.
Yeah.
We live and breathe classic cars. It is all we have. It is all we drive. And for better or for worse, it's what we're bloody stuck with. So here are 10 things that we think will help you out starting off in classic cars. So Connie, do you want to take us away?
Yeah, let's go with number one, and it's probably my biggest, I would say, is buy on bodywork. As you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, they can't see 4.
They can't see it, but it's over there. 5.
But if we're really quiet, they can probably hear it rusting.
Rotten cars. And I bought them that way as well. It wasn't even like I bought them and they went rotten, because they're cheap that way.
Yeah.
You don't think it's a big deal when you're starting off. You think, oh, I can get that welded, or I learned to weld. Yeah, no chance. No, you won't.
The funny thing is, the majority of the videos on our channel are, we bought the cheapest, and then immediately they're followed up with, this is why it's the cheapest. And they're all fucked. It's always bodywork. Like, that is why they're always the cheapest. It's bodywork.
Yeah, the thing is, working mechanically on these cars is easy.
Well, that's not...
It's easy.
What's your problem with this one?
Oh, well.
Mechanical problem.
Yeah.
Don't listen to him. This is for people starting out. So we can't just assume that everything's easy, because not everything is easy if you're starting out. That should be number 2.
Okay, yeah, number 2.
No, back to number 1.
Good structure.
What is structure? Yeah, no, honestly, buy on bodywork. And we have learned this the hard way. And it was going to be another point I was going to make later on, but I think it's better to factor it into this one. And it's that nothing is really that bad if your wallet is big enough. Now,
big if.
It's a big if. But if there's a car you're totally in love with and you have to have it, there are very few things that are so bad that you physically cannot repair it. If you have a will, there will be a way. There's guys pulling Volkswagen camper vans out of hedges that are completely done in two halves, and they're back on the road. And like,
Is it the same?
the
The chassis number is back on the road.
The chassis number is back on the road. But no, I've seen people putting huge floor sections into them and rebuilding them from scratch. There might only be 2 panels on it that are original, one of which may have a VIN stamped onto it. But
Never know.
they are back on the road. So if you're seeing something that is completely and utterly done, you really do need to think about cost versus love. I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
We love all of these. Like,
I do, yeah.
I didn't like this at first. We told them not to buy it, but now I'm glad that we did.
Yeah.
And it's really solid.
This one actually is. It's just got rotten arches.
This one's really solid. It's just got rot in the usual place that we ignored.
But that's literally it. Like, you would think, so like rotten arches that's terrible. But in the context of these old Mercs, rotten arches is like, oh, it's nothing.
Yeah.
That's actually not too bad at all. Because like that one there that you can't see needs floors, sills. It was in the last video.
Yeah, which a lot of you watched because you all like to watch us suffer, I think. Something you should probably think about as well is if you do your research on a classic car, you know where the common areas are. And if they are common, 9 times out of 10, there's a fix for it. Mm-hmm. For example, these old Mercs, the wings go on them. That's kind of common. So they still make the wings.
Lots of panels available, yeah.
Yeah, you can get everything, and they're bolt-off panels. Mm-hmm. I don't count rust on a panel that you could unbolt and put a new one on.
Yeah, it's nothing at all.
Yeah, so if you're looking for rust, buy on bodywork. But if you're looking for rust, look at chassis legs, look at inner arches, look at roofs. Mm-hmm. Things that you can't just take 4 bolts off and that panel is off, because those are the areas that will cost you a lot. But it has to be really, really bad before you should really walk away.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you see, that's why they're so cheap. As we were saying there, that these are the cheap ones that you can afford. It's because your average guy looking at them for sale, he sees that bit of rust on the wing and thinks, no, can't justify that to the wife or the husband or whatever. It looks bad. Whereas to us classic enthusiasts wanting to start out, that's a 10-minute job to take that wing off, put a new one on that's been painted. And it's like it never happened. So, yeah. Number 1, buy on bodywork.
To an extent.
To an extent.
Number 2.
Number 2. Oh, let's not do those really cringy.
No. Watchmojo.com.
Yeah, I will literally stop watching a video if they start trying to put on a funny voice in between each one. It's like, would you fuck off? Anyway, number 2. And some people are better at accepting this than others. Some people will not hear this and be like, no, that's not true. One important thing for you to learn if you're starting out in classic cars is that there is always somebody that knows more than you. Whether you like it or not.
Except me, I know everything.
Ah, yeah, there you go. Mark Man here. Yeah, dead on. Yeah, still haven't fixed that, so you don't know everything.
Don't know very much, to be honest.
That's the thing, but we're learning, and we don't let on that we are experts.
No.
Now, we can say we know a lot.
Yeah.
Like, there's barely a thing in a Mark II Golf I couldn't tell you. There's barely a fact or a chassis code or an option that you couldn't tell somebody about a Merc.
True, yeah.
We just picked these things up over the years. But when people are trying to give you advice, take it. But at the same time, there's somebody who probably knows more than them.
Yeah.
You know, there isn't anybody who is an expert on stuff. There's maybe people who know an awful lot, but they don't know everything. So really what I'm trying to say is take advice from people, but look it all up. Get as much information from different people as you can, because different people have different experiences. Case in point, Dad was working on Vauxhall Insignia.
Ugh.
I know. And everybody online, including the Haynes manual, said that you physically could not remove the engine from the top. You had to lift the whole car up and remove it from the bottom and out.
Right.
And he did it. He lifted it out to the top. He says, everybody says you can't do it. And he did it. Don't really know where I'm going with that now.
The experts were wrong. Haynes was wrong.
The experts were wrong. The supposed like guides and all were wrong. And if you wanted to do it that way, you could. There wasn't really any benefit to it. I think he was just lazy and he couldn't be arsed jacking the car up. But my point is, people that supposedly knew more than him didn't, but he didn't know everything about it either, you know? So make sure to take your information from different sources, but be willing to take the information, because on cars like these, realistically, it's 2021. This car is what, 30-year-old?
Yep.
That car is 30-year-old. That's 40-year-old. They're all old. So chances are there's somebody who's done it before you.
Yeah.
There's no problem here that is fresh. You know, nobody has a problem that's never happened before in these. Like, so the information is out there. Ask for help. Be willing to take it, but make sure you get a few different opinions as well.
There will be plenty of people ready to give you it, because generally classic car people are quite friendly.
There are no nicer people than classic car people.
Yeah. Strange.
Genuinely, if you are, well, in a club. Join a club.
Yeah, start a club. Join a club.
That's going to be another point. Shut up.
Okay.
Yes, let's move on.
Right, number 3. Always have cash lying around.
Oh, wow. Go on, this I've got to hear, but I agree, but
Yeah,
go on.
do. If you look at a 1,500 quid car and say, I've only got 1,500 quid, you probably can't afford it unless you're really lucky. Things do go wrong with these things. And even if you fix it yourself, you're going to need the bits to fix it with. So I don't know, is there a rule of thumb for it? Probably not really.
I'm not really sure what you mean.
Like, how much money should you have twice the value of the car sitting aside? You probably wouldn't need it if it's anything big.
I guess the best way to say this is probably expect whatever you buy to cost more than what you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
And not always have extra money because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. If I added up how much I've spent on my cars over the years, I'd probably have a Ferrari by now. It'd be a shitty one.
Yeah, it would be like the Ferrari
Maybe a
nobody
Mondial or
wanted.
something. Like. Maybe a faux Rari, but like, yeah, like it'd be a lot of money. Like, but no,
Yeah.
I get what you mean. And at the same time as that, if you don't have the money lying around, what you want may come up and somebody else may get it first because you didn't have the money sitting there ready to go.
That's true as well.
If you're actually looking for a classic car, then be ready to buy at a moment's notice.
Yeah, because they can go very quickly if they're popular ones.
Yes, like insanely quickly. And if a car sticks around for a long period of time,
Chances are something wrong with it.
case in point, that black one there. How long was
Yeah.
that for sale for? Weeks?
Yeah.
That was up for weeks, like.
What a bargain.
So yeah, always have money lying around.
Yeah, be ready to pounce.
Be ready to strike. The early bird gets the mark.
Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to number 4. Number 4. No matter how good what you buy is, be ready to be disappointed. Because it's,
Thanks.
No, but it's true. It's so
Yeah, it is, it
easy
is.
to get disheartened with what you've bought when you start to take it apart.
To lost heart and an oil yoke.
You lost heart and eye look. You really do. Because I know it's daunting at first. You buy something, case in point, this black one. You buy it, it looked fantastic. We did all the checking we could do. But there's
Yeah.
only so much picking apart you can do in somebody's driveway.
The rot was hiding behind the plastic covers.
It was hiding.
Happens.
And it is disheartening. You start to take these things off, you see problems. But look, you'll get through it. Like, things don't get sorted overnight. And as we've seen with Veronica, which was meant to be done in a couple of weeks, it's now been about 6 months. Still not finished, you know. But you will get there. Because if you sit and scroll through Facebook, as this is all stuff we've said before, but I think it's important to reiterate. You'll have been looking through Facebook and all, and you're seeing these bills getting done really quickly and all, and that's because they're just showing you what they want you to see. And you need to accept that yours isn't going to be done necessarily as quickly as theirs. So don't base your whole build on what you're seeing online. Build it for you, because you will get burned out if you keep at it constantly trying to keep up with everybody else.
Yeah.
And then you get disinterested, and then you lost heart and oil
You
yoke.
lost heart and an oil
You
yoke.
lost heart and oil yoke, and it lies up, and then you just fall out of love with it, and then you lose interest. So build for yourself, and don't get too disappointed. We've moved location because time just gets quickly now.
Just getting dark.
Just it do be getting dark, and this is all the light we have.
There's
So,
not a fair old stretch in the evenings anymore.
there's no stretch in the evenings, please. So, number 5. Take it away, Connor.
Number 5, be prepared to talk about what you've bought at every petrol stop. If you've bought something nice. If you'll know.
Yeah,
right?
you'll find it nice. It's your car.
Yeah. But
Something
you will know if it's universally liked. If when you stop every time to get petrol, somebody asks you what year it is. It's always what year is that? If they like.
I wouldn't know because I've genuinely never been stopped at a petrol
Have you
station.
not?
No, and I've been daily driving classic cars for the past 8 years.
Oof.
And mine aren't universally liked. Oh no. I've come to accept it now. But yes, go on.
I've never had it in any of the newer marks, but I've had it in the 115.
So is it fair to say something of a certain vintage is more likely to be...
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's something we can add. Be prepared to talk about it full stop.
See, it's a funny one, right? Because nobody is duty bound to talk about their car. It's a weird thing. It's like you standing saying, "Oh, a celebrity has to have a picture of me." You know, that's your job. It's kind of like that. You're nearly expected to be a bit open and friendly if you're driving around a classic car, because people do want to chat about it usually. Especially if you've got something stupid like a DeLorean.
Yeah.
I bet that's a nightmare.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't want to own a DeLorean for that very fact that you're just constantly going to be hounded. People.
Will it do 88? Where's the flux capacitor?
Marty.
But I bet they all want photos as well.
Oh yeah. Could you open the door? No. The traffic light. I'm not opening the door. Yeah, that actually is a very valid point. Like, I know I just said I haven't been stopped at petrol stations, but you do get a lot of stares.
Yeah.
And 90% of the time, they're not staring maliciously, which may be
They're
weird.
just looking because they haven't seen one.
Exactly. Like, I was taking my brother home one night, and somebody was staring at the car, and I goes to my brother, does he want to take a fucking picture or something? Like, and then Chris goes, you can't drive a car like this. And I wonder why people are staring at you. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
Because they will.
yeah.
You just have to be used to it and just expect it.
Yeah.
And be open and friendly and chat to them about it. For a
Yeah,
little
don't
bit
give
at
us a
least.
bad name.
Nobody chats for too long, in my experience.
Really?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. You running late, petrol pouring out of the car because you're still talking. Throw a cigarette down, bang.
One fella filmed me in the 115. Like, he
Oh.
actually got his phone out and just like...
Videoed you going past.
No, he filmed, like he stopped me and filmed me asking about the car.
What?
Yeah.
Was it that
there's a video-
Stavros guy?
No.
Stavros
wasn't
Flatley?
wasn't even Stavros. So there's a video out there somewhere of somebody just asking me about my car.
Right. And did he go, I heard your car wasn't running right there?
You should have done.
You should have done. So yeah, be prepared to get attention. Some people like the attention, some people don't. But if you don't, drive something else, because this is the life you've chosen.
Yeah.
Number 6, buy once, buy right. Now, I have made this mistake far too many times over the years, and I paid the price every single time without fail, whether it was being stranded at the side of the road, whether it was not even getting to leave the house, or having to leave work early because the headlights and things stopped working.
Are you talking about parts here or full cars?
Parts.
Okay.
I'm going to say you don't have to go and buy the most stupidly expensive thing, but if something is cheap, it's cheap for a reason. It's kind of like anything really. You go on eBay or whatever and you see the cheapest thing is catastrophically cheaper than the next cheapest thing. It's just going to break. It is. And I've experienced this, and I would always buy cheap, shitty second-hand parts instead of just going and buying the new ones. At the time when I was in uni, I didn't have much money, which is not a situation you want to be in with a classic car, because...
No. Although it is interesting, I wouldn't tell anyone never to do it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to do it, fine. But, like, I was putting second-hand brake pads in, like...
Nice.
Yeah, I was putting in second-hand brake pads, second-hand clutches, like... I just didn't have the money to put more money into it, and I did pay the price. Things like brake pads and clutches, I suppose, aren't too bad, but because of a cheap engine mount, my engine mount sheared on the motorway and killed an engine, which is why now I have to do this TDI conversion. Like, cheap stuff, will break. Mightn't be tomorrow, mightn't be the next day, but the same guy that went and spent a little bit more extra is going to drive past you, laughing at you as you stand at the side of the road with the bonnet up.
Yeah.
So buy once and buy right. It may be more expensive, but if your Classic is a second car, I assure you, wait a bit longer, get the better parts. It's much more worth it in the long run.
What I would say on that point as well is, I've seen it on Mercs, the replacement parts sometimes aren't as good as the originals.
Okay, I thought you were going to follow that
Yeah,
up.
no, I will, don't worry. The shocks, the new shocks you'll buy just aren't as good as the originals that came off it. So what I would advise, keep the originals as long as you can. Change them, do change them when you
Yeah, I
have
was
to
going to
change
say,
them,
come on, lad. Like,
but don't change stuff as
we're going to cut to a shot of the 1, 2, 3, you wobbling it there.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
All right, okay. So, yeah, buy once, buy right.
So number 7, be willing to learn yourself, because
Sure, you learn yourself.
sure, that's it. Because these cars, generally, if it's a Classic, it hasn't been in the mainstream on the road for, let's say, 30 years. I would probably say 30 years rolling for Classics.
30 years rolling, that's fair, although it's getting even lower now. I mean, like, early 2000s, late 90s stuff you never see.
No,
Like, you just don't see it now. It's all gone.
it was scrap.
It was all scrapped, genuinely, so people probably just don't know how to work on them anymore.
That's it. So mechanic, unless you get a proper Classic mechanic, which can take ages, money and time, because they'll be busy. Your average day-to-day mechanic hasn't seen one of these.
What is a carb?
Hasn't seen one of these.
Possibly
And-
ever, to be
Yeah,
fair.
maybe never, because they
Possibly
might
never.
have qualified in the last, like, this millennium, you know?
Yeah, genuinely, if you've never,
You know.
if you've qualified in the last 20 years, you probably still never worked on a Vendale Mark. Like,
No. Not seen them, doesn't know the ins and outs, could probably do a decent enough job, depending on whether it's specialist or not, you know, some wee niggly bit that it genuinely is very different.
but a thing is as well, with the likes of the TDI conversions that we're doing, they have an ECU and a brain and all that, yes, but you still can't plug it into 90% of modern computers because they don't do stuff that old.
Just does not compatible.
Just it does, like, what is this?
yeah.
Does not work.
So be willing to go on YouTube and look yourself. Mostly anything to do with them is on YouTube. The sort of 80s, 90s stuff.
Don't say you're pointing stuff that's not on camera here.
That's
Connor.
okay.
That is a 190E, just to clarify.
Yeah, and even your golf. There's a lot on YouTube about those.
That's true. We're trying to make more on YouTube.
Yeah.
Not very much of it's actually informative on YouTube. No, I don't mean ours. I just mean in general, there's not a lot of actual guides to
Yeah.
stuff. Some is like the odd wee guides, like how to change your dash bulbs and stuff like that. It's like, right,
So-
okay, how does that help me change a gear linkage in the middle of the night because I can't move?
How does it?
How does it? How do? So yeah, we are doing our bit to try and add to the informative videos, but like,
But yeah,
be
for-
willing to learn and try it yourself.
For the Mercs, there's so much stuff on YouTube. There's so many forums that people just telling you what to do if you need it.
People genuinely want to help each other with these classics. So if you're not afraid to learn, be willing to try it yourself. Number 8. This is maybe more applicable to people of our age and generation, although I suppose to a generation above ours, these are just cars, not classic cars. But to younger people starting out, number 8, I would say, is be thick-skinned. Because if you're the only car person in your group of friends, they aren't going to get it. You're going to get, why does this not have this? This car's shit. Why does this not have a CD
yeah.
player? Why can I not connect my phone to this?
Why is that brown?
Why is that brown? Where's the cup holders? What's that smell? Why is this leaking? Why am I getting wet when we go through a car wash? Why is this using so much petrol?
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of, not hate, but you're going to get a lot of shit. And you just kind of need to be thick-skinned and be able to say, because I want it to be that way. Apart from the broken stuff.
Yeah.
But when people start saying about, why can't I connect my phone to this and all that? Because you want it to be that way. You get into classic cars because that's what you like about them. You like them that they're different from what other people have. And like anything that's different, it's going to get some hate. And it's going to get scoffed at by those who just don't get it. But after a while, they will start to get it.
Yeah.
Case in point, I did a road trip to Kerry in my Maroon Mark II Golf, and it was with 3 friends that aren't into classic cars at all. They all wanted to take the modern car, and I says, nah, I'm driving. We're taking the Mark II. And they're like, oh, this is going to be so shit. They said it would not have been the same trip if they did it in any other car. It was the character of the car, as you said before I coughed and we had to edit it out. But I'm giving them the credit anyway. But like, you wouldn't get that in a modern car. You wouldn't get the sense of spirit of, will it make it up this hill? Can we overtake something? Just all the looks that we were getting and the photos that we took of all of us with the car. The car was as much one of us as anything else. It wasn't just 4 of us going on the trip. It was 5 of us really. Like, the car was part of the trip. And all it took was forcing them into it for a weekend.
That's it, yeah.
But they will get it eventually. But just be thick-skinned and expect to get some abuse and some laughter for being different, because that's what happens with anything that's different from the norm.
Number 9, it might not be that bad.
Aw, that's wholesome.
So I didn't buy a classic car for a good number of years.
Oh, sorry, that was my fault, wasn't it, that you didn't buy a classic car?
Because yours looked like a lot of trouble, to put it as politely as possible.
What you're saying is I drove a heap of shit to start off with.
I thought
that was the norm.
All classics, like, I'm talking about Lara here, I'm talking about the GTI.
Yeah. We haven't really done much about Lara on the channel.
Okay, so
basically, Lara was my first car. I got her when I was 15. She's a GTI Golf, and the head gasket was gone, and the wiring loom had an aftermarket alarm butchered into it. Needless to say,
didn't work.
Every day there was a problem, like, of some form. Now, Veronica wasn't any different, but Lara was my first and only car at the time, so if there was traffic, she overheated. Unless you drove it fast, it overheated. And it was just, the car was disastrous. Like, I love it to bits, but it was disastrous. Yeah. But anyway, there's your context.
That's the context. And so I saw that and I was like, oh, well.
Well, my 2001 Suzuki Wagon-R doesn't do any of that.
Literally. And that's all I knew, because that's all the exposure I'd had was little
me.
Suzuki, your classic GTI.
I'm sorry. I apologize that I single-handedly ruined classic cars for you at the start.
For a little while, yeah, until I only bought one as a second car, and then I drove it as a second car and thought, this is a lot nicer than my
first
daily.
car.
And it doesn't break at all, ever. And it might not be that bad. You know, if you're looking at somebody you know and they've got a heap of shit,
it doesn't mean yours will be.
Doesn't have to be for me.
It doesn't have to be that way. Some people actually have happy lives.
I can't
Believe it or not,
that.
It doesn't have to be that way.
Cannot imagine that. But yeah, keep that in mind, that it might not be that bad.
Yeah, and see, when it's not that bad, they are the best times you're going to have. Genuinely. Tell me one experience you've had that wasn't heightened by the fact that you did it in your classic.
Oh, couldn't.
Nothing. There isn't.
Couldn't.
I honestly don't think there's a single thing could be improved by doing it in a modern car instead of a classic car, if the classic car is good. Like, if you're if it's running well and you've no problems, I guarantee you now there's nothing better. Honestly, people don't stop to take photos of a Mark 7 Golf that drove past, but they will take photos of a Mark 2 Golf that drives past, or a Mark 1, because nobody takes photos of my cars, but whatever. Number 10. Your classic car is as much about who you do the things with than the classic car itself. Because yes, having a classic car is cool, but building a classic car with your mates, 10 times cooler. I know for a fact that some of the most fun nights I've ever had have just been in that garage or my garage, working on the car with my mates, listening to music. And that is what classic cars are all about. They're about bringing together people.
I'd agree.
As you said about the petrol station, people want to come over and talk.
Yeah.
That's bringing people together.
If you don't have friends beforehand, you can bond over your car.
Yeah, legit. Oh,
honestly,
honestly,
cars, sounds like a joke.
Yeah, I have made so many friends through classic cars. I would say a solid was going to say every friend except you and Doyle, but we probably started talking over classic cars when you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
it's always been about classic cars, and that's all they do is bring people together. And I think that is something that should be cherished, and really you should think hard about who you're building the car with, because it makes it. Like, my cars are kind of part of my family now because everybody has helped to build them. Everybody's chipped in. As we said, like, this is kind of a combination of all of these things together, but genuinely classic cars are about the people. I can't weld, so I got my brother over to weld it. I've seen my brother more since he's come over to weld my car than I've seen him in years. We've been having the crack more than I've seen him in years.
Yeah.
Doing electrics on Doyle's radio. He wasn't even going to come over that night, but because his radio wasn't working, he came over and we stood and had the crack for a bit. You know,
Yeah.
like, classic cars in any single way, shape or form, 90% of the time, bring people together. And every time I look at the car that I have built, I will think about, oh yeah, Doyle did that wee bit, or I did that wee bit, or Connor jacked it up while I did that bit. Oh yeah, we went here in that. Oh yeah, we saw him there. He had this outside his house. They had that outside their house. We talked to this fella for ages because he had that. I'm feeling like this is probably a bit too much like the other things, but I like to stress that part.
It's important.
Yeah, we like to say the cars are for everybody. Everybody has an experience with a car. So everybody does. So when people say, oh, I'm not a car person, inside a wee bit you are. You have a love for a certain car. There's a guy in work, I'll not name him, but he's not into classic cars at all. But a local dealership to us got an Audi 80 in.
Oh yeah.
And he has no interest in classic cars, but he straight away goes, my dad had one of them. Fuck, that's class. And all he does is talk about it because it's a memory for him. So he does obviously have a connection to a classic car. Cars are more than just cars. They really are something special, I think. They are as good as people in my eyes. So be nice to people and be nice to cars and get your mates over and work on your car together and don't lock yourself in the garage by yourself.
Yeah, don't do that.
Actually, that's a good safety tip. Don't lock yourself in the garage by yourself, because if a jack falls on you and you're dead, you're fucked.
You will die.
You are dead. And then nobody will want that car because it killed you.
No.
So, yeah. That has been our list of 10 things we wish we knew, because I remember when I started, I thought I was going to do it all myself. But sure, I didn't have a clue.
No?
I didn't have a clue. And nobody has a clue when they start out.
No.
So, actually, that should have been number 10. Number 10, nobody has a fucking clue when they start out, so don't worry if you don't either.
10A.
10A. So hopefully, if you're just starting out in classic cars, this video has kind of sparked a bit more of an interest, or maybe given you a bit of a drive to get started and make that stupid purchase that you really didn't need to buy. It's probably going to be stuck in your garage for years and not actually get finished.
Yeah.
But just remember, think of the good times you're going to have working on that thing. Thank you very much for watching this probably quite short, quite different video, but we just didn't really have anything else on.
Yeah, nothing on it this
Genuinely.
weekend, so
Yeah, I've mangled the gearbox in my Blue Golf and it doesn't drive properly anymore, and the exhaust is falling off you guys is 190, so haven't got around to fixing any of it yet, so there you go, we've nothing to record.
yeah.
So if you like this type of video, please let us know, because it'd be very handy for us to do a couple of them.
Yeah.
But if not, we'll not bother anymore. So
Thanks for watching.
yes, thanks for watching. I've been Tamil Patterson. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Tamil Patterson.
I've been Connor Hughes. Follow me on Instagram if you want. Hughes Corporation.
Chrissy behind the camera has been herself. Follow her on Instagram at Chrissy Ewens, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. And if this has helped you in any way, feel free to share it. Please feel free to let us know in the comments if it has, because a lot of people just say that to get the algorithm to help them out, but we genuinely are like interested in what people have to say.
Yeah.
And we will take it on board if you have anything to say. So yeah. See you in the next one. Good luck.